This is the video review of the Biklonz Cross Attacker figure, and this guy is really cool. Now, right now I have him in his component parts, Direwolf and Saber-Toothed Tiger, and for the most part they are mirror images of each other with different color swaps and with different color sets and with different detailing, but there are a couple of differences between them that I'll get into after I go through their posability. So first of all, we'll look at Saber-Toothed Tiger, and I really love the way these guys look because just the way all of the colors mesh with them, they look really mechanical without any of the colors being too broad. Like there's no sheets of just one single color with nothing to break it up. It's always interesting no matter where you look, and it's also not over detailed. It's not like the Transformers movie figures where it's just a ton of detail. They are very nice cartoon figures, and I really like the way these guys look. So anyway, that's Saber-Toothed Tiger. Here's Direwolf, and I just really love how different they look too. Like there's some differences in the posture that I'll get into a little bit, but they just did such a good job of making these things look distinct in spite of how similar they are. Now for posability, if you don't want to unlock any of the transformation joints, you get very limited posability, about as much as you would get on an old Beast Wars figure, but they can actually do quite a bit more than that. Now, to start off with, the front legs move at the shoulder here. They can go in and out like this, but that's a transformation joint, and they're spring-loaded to go out when they're in their beast mode. Now they have a double jointed elbow here, and the paw here can move up and down. The mouth here can open, but because the fist is in the mouth, when you open the mouth, you're going to see the fist there, not like a cavity. So it's not like they can just chew on stuff, unless you turn them into that dog-like xenomorph alien from, I think it was Alien 3, or maybe it was 4, I don't remember. It's one of the weirder ones, but you can have the fist come out, so it's like a second mouth coming out to grab something. So you can do that. It's a little bit weird, but I have had them like chewing on stuff like that before. I think it's kind of neat and alien. The tail can move back and forth like this, and up and down. They can move at the hip back here. They can't quite go around 360 because of stuff in the way, but they have a decent range. They can move at the knee here, and they can move at the ankle here. And then they can move their little digits down here, the paws again, and so that's about as much articulation as you can get out of them just by themselves without unlocking anything. You can try and use this joint right here, but because you can't turn any of the joints to make it look more natural, it just makes it look like he's peeing, and because there's no ratcheted tent, it's always just going to fall back to that position. Now, if you want to unlock the joints, these guys actually have a lot of really cool posability. So I'm going to show it off with a Saber-Toothed Tiger so they both get equal screen time. Now, if you just unlock the head from here, you can rotate the head side to side. It makes it easier, like if you're putting them in a dynamic pose, to get them to really be chewing on what you want them to be chewing on. If you pull this forward, then you can get a swivel up here in the upper body like this to turn the body. And if you detach this section here, you can get a really neat ab crunch that can really make it look like they're pushing their body into something. Like, I've had a lot of fun getting some of my larger figures and just having these guys be in these really dynamic poses and attacking them. It would take way too long and be kind of hard to show it off in this video, but I might show some pictures sometime down the line. And then if you pull this up here, you get another joint right here that you can use. And you can rotate the legs to the side like that if you really need to. I haven't really had a reason to use it, but I just may not have noticed a reason to use it. Because I haven't had this set very long. But then you can also get this joint right here. And so there are a lot of places where these figures can really contort their bodies in interesting ways to really make them look dynamic. So on the surface they seem kind of not brickish, but about like an old Beast Wars figure. But when you really start messing with them, they can do a lot. Now, these two do have more differences than just their detailing in their colors. They actually have quite different postures, and the reason why is because in this section right here, which would be the chest for Cross Attacker, they have different stuff. This one has electronics, and where this section here plugs in is basically vertical, and so this thing comes in at a much steeper angle, which means this has to come up at a much steeper angle, which is why the tail comes up and then out. Whereas on the saber-toothed tiger here, because this plugs into the plate that holds the head, and that's at an angle like this. This comes at a much shallower angle, and so does this. So that's why the tail here looks a bit more natural. And it's also why this guy's feet rest on the ground a bit more natural, because it looks like his claws down to this joint right here sit flush on the ground, or they sit comfortably on the ground, you can see there. Whereas on Direwolf, if you put him into the exact same pose, it's his feet, it's like he's standing right on his claws, like standing right on his fingernails. So it gives him a bit more of like an unguligrade posture with his rear legs down there. And if you try and like move this forward like that, it's... I guess you can say it's kind of the same pose, but it looks like he's very close to sitting, like he's in the middle of sitting. And so I usually leave it like this when I don't have them in super hyper awesome poses. It's not that big of a deal, but it did bother me when I first got it, and I wasn't expecting it. So it really dyed my opinion of Direwolf for like the first 5 times I transformed these guys back and forth. It's not that big of a deal, and now that you're expecting it, it shouldn't catch you by surprise, so it really shouldn't affect your opinion now, unless just seeing it here affects your opinion. But anyway, now on to the actual transformation. This is where things start getting even cooler. So to start this off, we're going to pop off both of the weapons. I'm going to start off with a saber-toothed tiger here. Let's push everything out to the side. And we're going to pop this down, and then we're going to pop this up. We're going to straighten out the legs, and we're going to fold this toe piece out right here. Then you're going to wrap them around like this, and it's quite a bit the same as how the older Biklonz figure Leo formed the arms. I think even Scorpio had something like that too. Yeah, with his front claws, and it's basically the same kind of thing. You'll rotate the foot forward, you'll bring this down, and you'll fold that down. And that's how you get a leg. And I really like the way the legs look, because they're not bulky at all. And like if you know what's coming, you can see exactly where, well, that's kind of redundant. If you are familiar with transforming toys, you can see exactly kind of what they're going to do because of how flat they are on the inside. But if like you just weren't aware that these things transformed at all, which seems kind of weird, it would just take you totally by surprise. And it's a very effective transformation. Now you're going to come up here, fold these out so they're out of the way. You're going to slide this forward, and then slide this forward again. Then you're going to bring the head out like this on this double hinge in here. You'll rotate forward the paws, and then you'll bring these up as far as they'll go, bend these, and then push them up the rest of the way on the upper elbow joint like that. And then on these clear posts in here, you're just going to push them in like this. And then you're going to pull out the hand here, like I showed you before. And you can open it if you want. Then you're going to pull the head out and turn it forward. And this is one half of Cross Attacker. So I'll put them off to the side, and we'll take a look at Direwolf. Direwolf is basically the same thing, so I'm going to go through it really fast. And because it's a mirror image, we'll do any turns that have to, that are based on the front and back of the robot the opposite way. We'll pull this forward, and we'll pull this forward, and then we will bring this out on that same double hinge. Then we'll do the same thing to the paws. Like that. And then we'll bring out the hand. And the hand on Direwolf is a little bit harder to get out because he has more plastic in the roof of his mouth that kind of get in the way of the knuckles. And then here we have them all ready for the combination. And so to do this, there's this little post right here with some little tabs there. That's going to slide into here. And then on the inside of their crotches, they have these little tabs and clips. And on the inside of their chest, they have the same thing. So we're just going to slide them together. And it's a little bit awkward because a lot of stuff is in the way. And you just need to push it past. And then once you have it pushed past, you snap. Oh, sorry, you need to fold this thing back on Direwolf. I always forget that piece. Tab it together. Makes a transformation noise. And then we'll tab this together. Push the arms out to the side so they'll be a little bit out of the way. And here we have Cross Attacker in his robot mode. And this guy looks fantastic. Like, at first I thought that the, when I first heard about how this guy transformed, I saw the pictures of the beast modes, I thought that the differing color schemes wouldn't quite marry very well. But they actually marry quite well, and it's because it's not just a straight split between them. Like, the head is entirely red. This crest crosses over. There's a different detail on each side, so it doesn't just look like a complete mirror image. And it's a bit bare down here, but it just pulls together so well. And just because it's not like half is red and half is gray, and none of the colors seems imbalanced either. So it's not like one half is kind of dull with gray and then very vibrant with red. It just pulls together really, really well. And the Biklonz still keeps the biker aesthetic. Like, the saber-toothed tiger and Direwolf look like motorcycles that had 4 legs. And I really like that look. And this, it still has a helmet, like some of the other Biklonz stuff did. And it has a little visor over the eyes. And I love the way that the eyes are painted in there. It's a little bit, I'm getting a glare on it, so I don't know how well you can see it. But it's a really cool looking head. From the back, he looks just about as good, except for a bunch of screw holes, but he's just a really good looking figure. Now for his weapons, we have the tail. So this forms like a baton they can thwack people with. And the arms on these guys, or the hands on these guys, don't hold stuff very well. I wish they were just closed fists so that they could just hold this properly. But there's not like any tab that they can see. You just need to close that as tight as you can. But everything comes out quite easily. And this, what I'm doing here will show you one of the few big problems I have with a figure. And it's that he's leaning forward. Like, if his arm's just straight forward, he doesn't lean forward too much, and he will fall over if you nudge him when he's like this. But the extra weight of the weapons at the very end just pulls him forward. And so, the problem here is that the ratchets in his knees down here, they're strong ratchets, but they have some play in them, a little bit too much. And basically the problem is, you can't just rely on a ratchet to keep a joint tight. The joint still has to be tight enough to hold up the figure, and the ratchet is extra insurance for like the heavier figures. But because the joints are loose except for the ratchets, you get a lot of play here that causes this to happen. Like, without the weapons, he stands up a little bit better. And so I am a little bit disappointed with that part of him. And basically it just means I never use his weapons, which is okay, I guess, because they weren't really that great to begin with because he couldn't hold them very well. But what you can do with his weapons is you can plug them into his back like this, one going that way and the other going this way, so you get another X shape. And on his back, and if you look at it from the front, it looks really cool. There's a little place on the back right here, this little wheel thing, and this is to hold this little medallion thing. Just sticks on like that, and you can just keep that on Direwolf as long as you want. Now this thing is kind of weird. I'm not entirely sure what it is. Like, I think it goes in whatever morpher the show has, but it has this feature that the instructions didn't show where you can rotate it like this. So like this you can see that it's the saber-toothed tiger and the Direwolf with some black details. If you rotate it like this, it kind of obscures the image. I'm not sure entirely what that's supposed to be. Usually I keep this on the back to help weigh him back so that the, like with this mask back here, if you keep the arms forward, it's, he can actually stand quite a bit better than he could before. Because, like, he's not just leaning way forward anymore. And the other reason why I like to keep this back here is because it keeps this thing from wobbling as much, because the little tab here will just bounce into that. Now for articulation, the head can rotate around 360 degrees, but it's ratcheted, so you can get into intermediate poses pretty easily, but it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. It's not like it's just a smooth, silky joint. And what's kind of weird about mine is that he's always looking slightly to the right. The ratchet seems to be slightly misaligned. The arms can rotate around 360 if you don't have the weapons back there. And they can go in and out just a little bit. And the hands can turn around like that. Now, that's about as much upper body posability as he gets. And for what this is, it's actually quite a bit. I would like it quite a bit more, but I'm not too miffed about it. I like Power Rangers type stuff, so I'm very happy with how much articulation he has. And I'm not just being apologetic. This guy, for everything else he does have good posability while still being, except for these weak knees, very stable. Now the legs can go forwards about that much, and back about that much. They rotate above the knee, and then he has a double jointed knee here and here, so you can actually get quite a deep bend. But he doesn't have any. He does have some posability back here to like give him a better heel if it's so that you can, to push him forward a little bit more. Now the placement of the ratchets means that you can't use them in most positions because it's just a bit too extreme. Usually I'll end up using the outer one the most because the curve of the foot means that it has less contact with the ground than this one will. Because like if you just look at that, you see that this one pushes way further into the ground. And that's about all for his articulation. Because of his weak knees and the shape of his feet, he can't balance too well. He can balance, but you have to spend a lot of time doing it to make sure that it does exactly what you want. I'll try and get him into a decent pose, and yeah, that will work. His knees are his biggest problem. If Young Toys ever re-releases him with stronger knees, this guy would be just about a definite buy for anyone. I can't imagine anyone who wouldn't want this figure because he is really cool, but as it stands, he does have some problems that makes it hard for him to stand. And like I have gotten him into quite a few decent poses, but it just takes a while to get it done. So anyway, here's a just a quick like 30-second pose. If you spend more time on him, you can get him into some better poses. But anyway, this is a Cross Attacker toy. He is one of my favorite toys of the year, and I really can't wait for the rest of the Biklonz figures of this season to come out. I think basically they're just two different figures, where with the last one there were two different tiny robots that you can make that could swap shirts and pants, and then there was Ursa, so there were basically three robots to get. This time, I think there are just two. There's Cross Attacker, and I don't think we have the other one named yet, but the other one is actually formed from three and doesn't share any of the transformation stuff that these guys have. And it's a mammoth, a ram, and an eagle. And I'm really excited to see how it works, because I was a bit disappointed with Infinity. But I think the next one, just from the pictures I've seen, will be quite a bit more stable, because it doesn't require everything to multitask so much. Oh yeah, one thing I did forget. Now that he's all transformed up here, you can press this button and get... And I can't really quite tell the difference between most of the sound effects. They're a little bit on the quiet side, but that they're not just going to go off all the time is quite nice, especially when they're in their animal modes. They don't make any sound at all. But anyway, this has been a video review of Cross Attacker. In spite of his some of his flaws with some weakness on some of the ratchets, I do really love this figure, and I do really recommend it. Like, even if the next figure in the line and then the final combination ends up being crap, this guy by himself is definitely worth the price. So anyway, this has been a video review of Cross Attacker. I review Tobots, Biklonz, Digimon, Transformers, Power Rangers, lots of stuff like that. If any of that sounds interesting, please subscribe, and thank you for watching.